Following where others
Fuck it, I'm gorgeous. I do not need none of your endorsements. I know this when no one else seem to notice that I do this well. Thought process drowning in a well while telling these tales. I waited for things to unveil, but thinking you'll fail.
Behind the lens, High Class Photography presents sessions. And if you don't know the man in front of us, get to know him. We're going to ask him a few questions, get a little bit into his head, a little bit about his life, a little bit about his music. See what all we can pull out of. If you don't know, this is T. Dewitt. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How is everybody?
Doing pretty well, I guess. Introduce yourself.
All right.
Give us a quick rundown about you.
All right. So I go by the name of T. Dewitt. I'm one third of True Story. That's spelled with a 2. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I do music to try to uplift people, to try to uplift myself, and stay positive and, inspire.
Okay, so quick intro. So tell me, T, where are you from and how did you get to Chattanooga?
All right, so I am from Atlanta, Georgia, born and raised, and I got to Chattanooga. Well, I was dealing with some health issues. And my best friend Adrian is from Dalton. And so while I was dealing with all of that, he was helping me pay for my doctor bills and everything like that. So he would come down to Atlanta and like fill my fridge and everything. And
wow.
It got to a point where he was just like, man, this would be a lot easier if you moved up to where I am. And he's like, and when you move up, we can focus on music and everything. So that's what I did. I moved up to Dalton. And when I moved up to Dalton, I started kind of getting a little bit better, and I started working in Chat. And so I was making that commute from Dalton to Chat.
Yeah. And that drive is okay, but when you have to make it consistently, it can get worse. Like,
yeah.
It's only like a 30-minute drive, 25, 30 minutes, depending on what part of Dalton you're in. Mm-hmm. But having to know that you're getting off work in Chat, have to drive through Chat traffic, and then hit 75 South to get to Dalton, to get home, and then do that back in the morning too, when you could probably live 10 to 15 minutes from work, and not have to make that commute. It make a lot of sense. But dude, that's actually pretty dope. Adrian's, I would like to sit down and meet him, talk to him, get his story too.
I wanted him to be here today, but he's at home in Atlanta.
Sometimes you just can't make it all happen. We'll get around to him. Today is about T. Dewitt though.
Cool.
So the transition from Atlanta to Chat was surrounding mostly health issues.
Yes.
Okay. Don't like to dig too personal, but what type of health issues? Like, what's going on? What was happening?
Cancer.
Really? Wow. So, talking to a cancer survivor.
Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing, brother.
Yeah.
You should be ringing that from mountaintops, bro. Like, everybody don't make it through that struggle, that fight.
So originally we was gonna like document all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But also, like, there's a part of me, like when you hear songs or, like, if you guys ask me questions, I'm very open, but then also I'm still kind of private. And so I was never, there's a lot of people who are probably finna watch this now, and this would be the first time they hear about it.
They would never know.
Mm-hmm.
See, I can respect it. That's why I don't, it's kind of one of those, do we touch it or don't you touch it type situations. Mm-hmm. But in this case, like, well, it played an instrumental role into who you're becoming now. Yeah. So why not?
Yeah.
So you mentioned the group that you're 1/3 of a group, True Story.
Yeah.
But who all makes up that group? Because you said it's 3.
So my homie Adrian Story, his last name is actually Story, and what happened was there was a lot of stuff going on with him and his family. His family is actually really known in Dalton.
Okay.
The stories, but not all of it for the most positive reasons. Okay. His dad's an amazing dude. His dad passed, but he used to call me son too. But he wanted something to be represented behind his name. And so, one day when me and Adrian met in college, he just came up to me and he asked a lot of us friends that were, he knew that did music. He was like, hey, would you guys want to be a part of this collective I'm trying to build called True Story? And of course, everybody was like, I mean, I'll help. But I was the one that was like,
yeah, sign me into this. I'm down for that type of work. Yeah, see, that's how in the world of music, that's how moguls are made.
Yeah.
Because they very rarely do you get that one person who comes out of in the music world who elevates to the level of mogul without coming out of a collective or a group. And most of the time they be the people who reach back, and then you see that second person removed in their career where, you know, this person put this person on and this person put that person on, but now they all fall back under this one person because they all started together and they eat.
Yeah.
I agree with the collective mindset. That's just part of me, how I see it.
And then the third person, my best friend is Xavier. I've known him since I was in like the 6th grade. When I had to move with my dad in the 6th grade,
Okay.
I didn't know anybody, and my dad asked me, you know, my dad's in the military and everything. He's like, well, you got to do something. So I think what he thought was going to happen was I was going to be like, bet, run that football and everything, which
Right.
I love, you know, basketball and everything. But I was like, hey, I'll join chorus. He was like,
What? Right. Like,
but he was like, okay. And
no
so
dad wants to hear that. They want their sports kid.
Yeah, but he let me be in chorus, and from there I actually met. Shout out to my homie Denzel, who's writing for Jacquees right now.
Oh wow!
Shout out to my homie Donovan, who's producing for who produced for Waka Flocka. I met like all of these people who were doing music, and as a kid, that was like when I would be reclusive and dealing with stuff when I was living with my mom. I would just want to come up with songs, even like in elementary school. And so now I'm in chorus, and I meet this dude named Xavier, who's kind of quiet like I am, but he was making some beats. These beats was fire even in middle school. And
yeah, see, that's that collective mindset, bro. You like that kindred spirit. You just migrate to them and don't realize why, don't know why. It just kind of happens.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, so to piggyback, what school did you go to?
So this was Mundy's Mill Middle School when I met Xavier.
Okay.
And yeah, both of us was just super quiet in class. Funny story, sidebar. When we got to high school, we got to a point where they were actually playing our beats on the morning announcements, and so
that's dope. That's exposure to the whole school.
It was, but so Monday they would play like Xavier's beats, fire, right? They would play Denzel's beats, right, for Jacquees, fire, right? Wednesday, Donovan, fire. Thursday, everybody be like, yo, it was fire all week. Who was Thursday? And I'd be like, oh no.
So it was your day.
It was my day. And my beats at first was trash, I gotta admit. But I kept hanging out with these people who was dope, and I feel like it helped me build.
I guarantee you they weren't trash. They were just not what they were used to hearing.
I think so, yeah.
Because Pharrell was one of the first pioneers to take a sound, and Timberland to take sounds that you had never heard in a musical context. And then people started bobbing. So like, oh, that shit is fire. That sounds amazing. But beforehand, you had those hardcore boom bap beats and trap beats that you were hearing. That's all you heard. And if it wasn't that, you was like, oh, it's trash, it's garbage. I don't want to hear that. I would be interested to hear some of those old beats just to see
them.
Because I guarantee you now, with the way music is moving and the new wave as we have now, there'd be artists that would probably eat it up. Like, oh yeah, bro, this don't sound like nobody else. I want it type shit.
If you guys ever get a chance, look up this song that my homie Adrian Story, he goes by A Story on SoundCloud. He just released a couple of weeks ago called Juice. The reason I'm mentioning it is because it's produced by me. This is one of those old beats.
Oh yeah,
and he put a song out, and the song is fire. I remember when I heard it, I was like, why did he use this? And by the end of the song, I was like, oh God.
It worked.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking. We're talking about music in an overall sense from True Story, but your style has a very quick delivery. And in society's music today, where would you place your music? Like, if you had to put a title on it, what would it be called? Would it be traditional hip hop, or would you consider yourself more new wave?
I would consider myself somewhere in the lane of conscious hip hop, or maybe even alternative hip hop. If you, especially when the project is finished and you hear it, I'll put it in that lane though.
See, I really would like to see. Now that you mentioned that, I just did an interview with the Kids in the Corner. It was a girl group, 2 girls.
I know, I met them.
Jazz and Tabby. I just actually interviewed them. Their interview drops today, by the way.
Go.
But that's the exact same lane that they're in. They're that alternative hip hop. You kind of could go pop, but it kind of has a conscience to it.
Mm-hmm.
But the beats are kind of eclectic, so they don't fit your traditional what you would think of as a hip hop sound. It'd be interesting to see y'all 3 do something together.
Yeah.
That would be pretty dope.
Like, I'm down. That'd be dope.
Okay, I'm gonna make that happen. I'm gonna look that up.
I met them too. I didn't even think of asking to do anything.
Yeah, man, and they're just really getting started with their music too here in chat. So they've been doing other things, but now their focus has come together to make the group Kids in the Corner. Kind of like
a dope name too.
When I was a part of that when Jay was like, "Yeah, my homeboy got to perform. He got to perform." I was like, "Who are you talking about?" She was like, "Tobias." I was like, "Tobias, who?" It's like, "You know the guy with the beard and the glass?" I was like, "Oh, I know who he is because I've seen him, but I didn't know he did music." She was like, "Ken, you just got to hear him." And I'm like, "Okay, well, where can I catch him at?" And she was like, "I'm trying to get him to go to Proving Grounds. I'm trying to get him to go perform the first verse." And I was like, "Okay, well, when he do, let me know." And then I happened to be there the first time you performed, and I was like, "Okay, I'm feeling it. Like, it's rap, it's hip hop, but you can hear that it's a totally different wave of hip hop. It don't fit into what you hear in like a Uzi or a Yachty or even a Moneybag Yo. You know what I'm saying? You have your own sound, and that's what drew me in.
Yeah, like I think sometimes we forget that hip hop is supposed to be an art form, and so then I don't know, like it's like I wouldn't want somebody. I'm not a painter, but I wouldn't want somebody to give me a paintbrush and tell me, "Hey, paint this exact same mural that everybody else is painting right now."
Right.
Or I wouldn't want to do that.
Right. They're putting the art form in a box and making everybody exactly the same, which takes away from the creativity of making music.
What I've had to come to accept myself is like, okay, because there would be something that I would think is like Childish Gambino right now.
Right.
Everybody loves Childish Gambino. Yeah. I remember. All right, so Adrian put me on the Childish Gambino
6 years ago.
Yes. Huh?
Yeah.
And so
6 years ago.
Yeah. And,
how do I know? Yeah, it's called research, brother. I'm telling you.
And so Adrian put me on the Childish Gambino. And he's like, "Hey, you know that show Community that you like?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, the black guy on there raps. And I was like, "What?" Yeah. And so I looked up the video, Freaks and Geeks. And on the video, he's standing really far away from the camera. I was like, I like this song, but this isn't who I think he was mistaken. Then he ran up on the camera, and I was like, Troy is rapping?
Wow.
And so I've been a fan since. And I remember when I first was getting onto him, nobody was really fucking with him. Like,
no one recognized the genius of Childish Gambino early until the wave called him.
Exactly. And so now everybody's like, "Oh, he's so dope," and I'm like, "He been dope." Even with, I feel like, and I don't know if this. I'm not trying to. I feel like I have an ear sometimes when it comes to other artists, because I remember when Kanye first came out, and I grew up in Atlanta and stuff, so everybody was just used to T.I. I love T.I. Yeah. Everybody was just used to that, and I remember I was bumping at Kanye, and everybody just thought he was soft, and I was like, "This nigga hard, he's dope."
He is his spit. Well, so quick sidebar. I grew up in Atlanta.
You did.
So did my fiance.
Hey.
So when you talk about music from that era, Nuck If You Buck,
yes.
T.I., Ludacris,
yes.
Goody Mob, Jeezy, Gucci, that was the sound coming out of Atlanta. So if you were listening to anything else, you were considered strange. You were on the outside. You were on a box, outside the box. So when people would hear me listening to Nirvana, they would be like, "Yeah, you go to a white school, right?" And I was like, "Actually, I do." You know, I'm the only black guy in my class.
I went to a black school, so I had to hide my playlist.
Wow.
Like people will get my iPod and they'll be like,
what is this?
Like I'll be like, yo, my sister, she put some. They're like, is she like 4? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you know how smart kids are. You know.
Yeah, she is smart though.
Yeah, see, because they had that one. They were 4. When we were there, they didn't exist type shit. Oh man, see, growing up in Atlanta was just totally different, just from anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you officially start making music, and how did it come about? Like, what was that moment when you knew you was gonna start doing music?
Probably because I used to do songs in like 5th grade. Probably like 6th, 7th grade was when I was really like, yo, I'm finna do this music stuff. My homie Xavier, he had I wouldn't get in trouble saying this. He had like a hacked version of Fruity Loops, and he was making these dope beats, and I wanted to make beats too. So he sent them to me, and he was making at the time what Atlanta sounded like.
Right.
And I remember from the jump when I got Fruity Loops, I was like, let's make what Pharrell or Kanye or whatever that is.
Somebody different.
And so then I was making, like, I was chopping samples, and that's what I was trying to learn how to use Fruity Loops for. So, like, 6th, 7th grade, I had already started writing raps and making my own beats.
So, you got to back up. How in the world in 6th, 7th grade do you get a hacked copy of Fruity Loops?
Yo,
how do you come across that in 6th and 7th grade?
We was pretty smart. We was pretty smart.
Y'all did some undercover.
Yeah, we did.
Black internet down.
We did.
Wow, see, that's amazing, because now you're the generation that's looking back at these kids and was like, y'all don't understand the potential that y'all actually have available to you now. With the internet,
They don't.
I tell my kids all the time, bro, like, y'all don't know what it's like to live without the internet. So if the internet ever went down and didn't exist, they would be lost. Their whole generation would be lost. But you were in that generation where the internet was up and running, but it wasn't secure as it is now.
Yeah. And I want to say this to anybody who's trying to start out making beats, because I remember when I met Adrian in college, he used to always be like, these beats are fire, but you made them on Fruity Loops. And now he's like accepted them because they're just fire. Now that, you know, it came out that Pharrell uses Fruity Loops or Hit Boy uses Fruity Loops. I want to say this to anybody who's making anything. It doesn't really matter what you're using. It just matters how you utilize it. So if you're a person who can only make beats on a drum can, on a trash can, if you're making the most fire beats on the trash can, then, you know, you a leg up over the person who got the whole set. Because if that person with the whole set doesn't know how to use it, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter.
So
absolutely not. So you can have all the money in the world and have all the up-to-date equipment, but if you don't have an understanding of how to use it, it's pointless.
I've met people like that, and they just have so much stuff, and I'm just like, but the beats wasn't there. So, yeah.
All right, so
I just want to
we're talking about music again. It's in this scenario, but and how you started in the music. Mm-hmm. But what influences your music and your style of music?
Kanye, I feel like influences my music. HighKlass.
Shout out to the roots back to Atlanta.
Yes, HighKlass. Of course, Andre from HighKlass. But I also feel like we be sleeping on Big Boy because Big Boy is just equally as fire.
Absolutely.
T.I. Fall Out Boy. So I feel like I used to sneak and hide to listen to Fall Out Boy because, you know, in high school it wasn't the cool thing to listen to. But they used to name their stuff, like, name their songs weird names. But it had like little hints to what the song was about, and I feel like that struck a chord with me. So now that's what I do to this day. Since from like middle to high to today, I still do it. Like, I'll name something weird, and you might not think it has anything to do with the song, but like on like some decoding shit, you'll be like, wait a second, it has everything to do with it.
If you get it, you get it. Yeah. Otherwise, you see a title and just hear the music.
Exactly. And if not, then hey.
See, that weeds out real artists and real fans from just your casual fan. Just gonna listen to it every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So this question usually sparks a little controversy.
Okay.
And I ask all artists this question.
Okay.
Your top 5 artists of all time.
Of all time.
Your top 5. Like
my top 5 of
yeah.
all time. Prince.
Okay.
All time.
So are you putting them in order?
I'm not putting them in a
random?
certain order because
Okay.
I haven't thought about my top 5 artists. But
Prince popped right out though.
Prince.
Why?
I'm such a big Prince fan, and everybody who knows me knows I'm heavy on sampling stuff. I've never even sampled Prince. I don't even know where to start. Like when I hear a Prince song, I'm just like, wow, I got a Prince record, and
Wow.
I feel like with my record player and listening to Prince, I feel like back in the day there was an artistry like you couldn't just skip to the next song. You had to come up with a collective, a body of work.
Yeah.
And so then you put the needle on the thing, and then you just gotta let it ride sometimes, unless you just know where to.
Where that timing is.
Yeah,
You got marked it to record.
Yeah.
So you know where the next song.
And so
stop.
you listen to some old Prince or something like that was one of the first records I just like listened to, and I was just like, yo. So I'm gonna say Prince.
Okay.
This list is gonna be weird. I'm gonna say Amy Winehouse.
Bro, yes, somebody give it up for real music, bro. That's what I'm like.
I'm gonna say Amy Winehouse. She sad that she's gone, but she was classic. Sad that Prince was gone. Yeah.
Her voice alone.
Mm-hmm. Like I remember when Adele came out, and much respect to Adele, I love Adele. But I remember when she came out, people was like, "This is the first time I heard anybody sing like this," and I was like, "Hey, let's take it back."
Go back and listen to Amy before she was talking about just no.
Yeah, like Amy's dope. So I'm gonna say Amy Winehouse. Prince, Amy Winehouse. I'm gonna say artist of all time. Jeez, this is hard.
Everybody's top 5 is always different. Everybody I've talked to, like you still, if with some of the newer generation, I get the typical, Pop, Biggie, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
But for artists, for creatives, it's always different.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna put Andre 3000 on my list.
Okay.
Because I respect, like I said earlier, I respect to both Big Boy and Andre. But I've actually met Big Boy at a Best Buy. He was buying an Outkast CD.
That's weird.
Yeah.
He was buying his own album.
Yeah. And I didn't even ask for an autograph or anything. I think it was, but yeah. So I'm gonna say Andre 3000. I feel like he helped push that eclectic version of hip hop.
Absolutely.
And especially like Love Below growing up.
Yes.
That was so like it was different, and then if you accepted the different, it was like
yeah, you get sunk into it.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say this person just because this is one of the people that really made me, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of country. I'm gonna say Kanye, but I'm gonna say Kanye because of when I first was wanting to rap and do everything. He reminded me of me, and then so years later I found out me and him have the same birthday.
Strange, isn't it?
Yeah, and he reminded me of me as just somebody who like didn't dress like everybody else dressed or didn't sound like everybody else sound. Like my voice is high nasally, and didn't make beats the way he did. But then like when I listened to the College Dropout, that project meant so much to me. And shout out to my sister who took me when he had a free concert at Piedmont Park. Took me to see him.
Wow.
And I remember like just being like, when I finish my project, it's gonna come together like
this.
All Falls Down was like just epic. The poetry, the singing, like just all of that. And so I know Kanye's on like a different wave right now, but there's even a lot of the new artists, even if they don't want to admit it, like of course like the Chance will admit it, but like Chance the Rappers or like he influences a lot of people, even if he's kind of talking. I don't agree with everything he's saying, but
right now,
but
if it's the old Kanye,
yeah,
and it's the new Ye.
Yeah,
I rock with the old Kanye,
but this
Ye, I wish I could sit down and talk to him. That's who I wish I could sit down and talk to, just to try to figure out why he say and do some of the things he do, because he make the Kardashian curse seem real.
He does.
He make the sunken place sound like it's a real place. And I would want to know, like, if he really just a black man that's trying to do something different, or he's being himself, or if he's really influenced by that type of lifestyle where he's completely changed his whole perspective. Because at one point, he was the guy getting on stage interrupting a white artist to make an announcement, to now you're co-signing the most controversial president of the United States ever.
Yeah, it's something going on there, and I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna shout out to him because of his influence on me. So I'm gonna shout out to Kanye because there's still times where I listen to like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and just be like, So okay, so Kanye, 5. I feel like my last answer is gonna be cliche. Do I want to say?
It can be cliche. It's your top 5. This is how I get into your head to find out where you are as an artist.
Okay. I'm trying to think if I want to say Michael
Jackson.
I'm trying to think if I want to say Michael because, like, growing up, I had this Denzel who wrote for HighKlass. He was such a big Michael fan, but I feel like because Prince was so different and everybody was a Michael fan, I was heavy on Prince. And so, but Michael though, I'm gonna give it to Michael. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give it to Michael because I was finna just go left and say somebody probably underrated or something, but I'm gonna give it to Michael.
Okay.
I'll give it to Michael.
And I can respect that because I mean he is one of the greatest to ever perform, pick up a mic, sing, dance, all of the above. Mike was the ultimate performer, and Prince was the one up that didn't get the same shine. Because Prince had, I've talked to other artists about it, Prince could play more in musical instruments than any other known artist on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
But you wouldn't know that unless you knew Prince.
Mm-hmm.
If you just went by what you saw of Prince's musical career, you seen him play the guitar, you see him maybe play a piano or a keyboard, and maybe a drum. You see him behind the drum set.
Like, Prince is the only dude I know who could, like, wear, like, those little high heel things, do a song, split, and then take your girl.
And then walk away with your woman. Yeah,
you just like...
And what's even crazier is he could take your dude if he wanted it.
Prince.
He was that pretty of a guy that you didn't know if he went left or right, but you didn't want to take a chance of finding out if he went left or right. Because he could take either one of you.
So, funny story, I was hanging with, I was in high school, and my friends, they're triplets. And we was watching that halftime when that Prince performed, killed it. And so their dad, married, got all of them, straight guy. He's super swole, like the most swollen. Like, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Did I hear him?
Did I hear you say that?
And he was just like, I mean, that's a pretty nigga. And I was just like, okay. But I remember that's funny to me. But.
And it's just a true statement. Prince was gorgeous.
Yeah.
He was the closest you would ever get to a gay guy or a straight guy that looked or seemed gay, but would quickly walk away with your woman and you left. And she would go with him. Yeah. No questions asked.
Yeah, he was. I think that's why Prince is on my top list.
Because he fit.
Because he was that comfortable with himself. And I feel like that's an area that I'm trying to get, like, I have this that forces beyond my control.
Yep.
That song's about me feeling insecure, and feeling insecure from the day I started to do music. And the reason I have Adrian on that song, because at first Adrian wasn't even gonna be on my project with Spirit, because I just wanted it to be like a showcase of what Tobias was doing. But the reason he was on that song was because, like, since the day I met him, I remember. So when I first met Adrian, we was in college and everything. We hung out and we became best friends and everything. And then, I don't think he'll mind me telling this, but his dad had went to prison.
That's part of our lifestyle, man. It's just growing up there.
Yeah. So his pops went to prison, so he had to go back home to help his moms out.
Okay.
And so he's finna get ready to go back home, and people probably can't tell now because people always be like, Tobias, you the selfie king. But I tell people, like, I had to make myself start taking pictures so I could be less camera shy, so that way I could get acclimated to being in front of people.
Being in front of a camera.
So, because this is what I want to do.
Right.
And so, Adrian, he's leaving. This is my best friend, sophomore year.
Right.
Yeah, like we done started this group together. Matter of fact, our whole first project that we released, Adrian took it offline. He gonna put it back online. Our whole first project we released, we recorded it. I was in Albany. He was in Dalton. We was sending stuff back and forth via Dropbox. So anyway, he's leaving. At the time, I'm just thinking like, yo, my nigga leaving. That's my homie. He leaving. And I remember he was like, yo, he was taking a picture of everybody. He's like, yo, T, get in this picture. And I was like, nah. And I remember like, he was like, because like when y'all meet Adrian's like,
yeah,
we're totally opposite. Like I'm like this. Adrian's like, what's up, nigga? So Adrian was like, he's like, yo, G, I'm leaving.
Get in this picture.
You might not see me again for a while. He was like, I'm going to help my moms while my pops is going through something. Get in this picture. And so then I was like, and he was like, and then he got in my face and he was like, so nigga, he was like, why you don't want to take a picture? Nigga, do you think you ugly or something? He was
that's
like,
a best friend.
Yeah.
Like
He was like, you think you ugly or something, man? Nigga, take this picture.
That's a best
And
friend.
I was like, okay. And so then in the song, you hear me say, all the things I heard from Stephanie, Adrian, he was telling me. It was like, be confident in yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But that's one of the biggest downfalls for most upcoming artists is they don't believe in themselves or they're afraid of the what's the word I want to use? They're afraid of the criticism that's going to come from the outside once they expose their talent, how they feel, or where their influences will come from. I mean, you experienced it going through high school and having to look through that playlist and be like, I really want to listen to this, but if anybody ever sees me listen to it or hear me listen to it, I'm going to have to deal with that. Now, I don't want to deal with it. I don't have to go through that. See, luckily for me, I was opposite. I was predominantly white school, and I was the only black kid, so all the white kids want to know what I was listening to.
Yeah.
But hell, I was more interested in what they was listening to. I wanted to hear all the other, because I've listened to all the rap, and I've listened to old school hip hop and old school gospel, and I wanted to hear something different. My ear was yearning for something different. So I got into more alternative and rock music.
Yeah.
And I still think to this day it's weird. Like, now, if you were to ride with me in my car, you wouldn't hear me listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm sitting and listening to music, ain't no telling what's going to come on in my playlist. Because when I'm driving, I'll go to sleep if I'm not entertained. That's just period.
Yeah.
My fiance can contest to that.
I feel you on that one.
So, back into these, we got top 5 out of the way. Do you have any hidden talents that you don't display musically? And if you do, if you do or don't, but what do most people don't know about T. Dewitt? We kind of touched on it with the sickness, but as far as talent-wise, do you do anything else besides music that people wouldn't know about?
I feel like anything that I do musically, not musically, that's I'm a good cook. I'm a vegetarian / fake vegan some days, and so I have to people think I just eat salads all the time, but I be telling people I can't remember the last time I ate a salad. And so
that's amazing. That absolutely sounds crazy to me because I'm nowhere. I strive to beat you one day, but it's just certain meat I'm just not gonna give up. Like, in most respects to you. I don't eat red meat very often. I splurge every once in a while. I have a steak, but most of the time I'm eating chicken. I eat chicken 99% of the time. I eat anything. I'll have a burger every once in a while, but I want to be healthy. I want to eat cleaner.
When I was sick, Adrian was pushing for me to eat healthier, and so then this nigga changed his diet before I did. He's like, we're gonna change our diet, and he started eating this. he was eating like the super healthy stuff, and he was like, I ain't got to be doing this. So then I made me change,
Right.
and then I started back eating meat, and then I met Stephanie, and she was like, yeah, I think you should go back to the vegetarian life.
Who's Stephanie?
Tongue
Tongue in cheek.
in cheek. Stephanie is friend.
Okay.
Friend.
Just a friend. You sure? You say to look into the camera. You sure you want to say just a friend?
Right now we're just friends.
Okay.
But we were recently just became friends. But before we were more than friends, honestly. But we're still cool. She still supports everything I'm doing. I still support everything she's doing. Still love her.
Okay. See, that's grown. That's what adults do.
Yeah.
So, I found some stuff that tweaked my interest. So I'm gonna ask this.
Yeah.
Are you a gamer?
Yeah.
Okay. So my research came out right. So, what type of games? What are you into game wise?
It has to have a story.
So you're more into a role playing game.
No, not really role playing games, more say, but have you ever heard of a game called Last of Us?
Yes.
That's my shit. But more so because of like I'll play like games to just have fun and stuff.
Right.
But a lot of times like I'm big on movies. I'm really like actually if it comes down to it, the thing that inspires me to do music besides music is probably books and really heavy on movies. Like movies are my shit. So then I'm playing a game, and if it's like a movie, I'm in there.
You just stuck.
I'm stuck. Like you could tell me to like you could be like, Tobias play Fortnite right now, and I'll be like, oh cool, and I'll play it, and I'll be like, okay, a week later you be like, you still playing? I'm like, nah. But if you like Tobias, I got this game that has a dope storyline. The gameplay is intricate.
Right.
You enter it?
It's almost movie-esque. Like it has cutscenes. It's got a story and plot. Okay. See, I'm a gamer myself, but I'm more. I can play those games, but those games require me to actually sit and actually pay attention.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm more of a Call of Duty, Fortnite.
Now Call of Duty's my shit too.
I got away from sports, even though I got like 4 or 5 2Ks and Maddens. I don't really play them. Mostly now I focus on playing shooter games.
Got you.
But as I was looking through stuff about you, I was like, I keep getting this gaming vibe out of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask just to see.
Yeah.
So do you play on PC or console?
Console, PS4 mostly.
So,
Look me up, TD.
Do you consider yourself a conscious rapper?
Yeah. To an extent, yeah, I actually do. I realized, I think I mentioned this to you before the interview, like my nephew. Mm-hmm. So there's one of my nephews, shout out to Han Solo. He was a rapper too and stuff. Now he's doing his thing. But my nephew, he growing up, he would always be around me when I would make beats. So like when I was younger, my mom passed, and I had to move with my dad. And so
that's a rough part of life right there.
Yeah, but so I was living with my so on weekends I would go visit my sister, and again I'm like in middle school at this time, and so you know just because I'm visiting my sister on weekend, they don't stop no show with this music stuff.
Right.
So I'm over there, and of course I'm making beats and writing raps and stuff, and so to this day my nephew, mind you, this was 6th grade. My nephew, he'll be like rapping something, and it'll be one of my old verses. Or he actually even made a whole song revolving around something I used to say all the time, and asked me to be on it. I did a guest verse for him. He needs to release that song because that song's fire. But
so you heard it.
Yeah,
you need to hear that.
Yeah, it's fire. I'll let you hear it after everything. Actually,
yes,
I will. But so we I realized my words meant something. Okay. And so then it was just like, yo, it's not like he's hanging on every single one of my words or anything, but it's striking a chord.
It's resonating within him. Yeah.
So then if I'm like, fuck bitches, then he'll be walking around here, fuck bitches. And so then I'm like, well, no, that's not even who I am as a person. I want this to be a reflection of who I am.
Okay.
And yeah, so I guess in that sense I am a conscious rapper.
So I mean, I get that. I personally, I listen to turn up music. I listen
Me
to
too.
new wave.
I do.
I listen to a bunch of this crazy, just repetitive music for the turn up for that reason. But if I want to listen to something that is going to resonate, I want it to be something that's speaking of the language that I understand.
Yeah.
Something speaking on something that's going on in the world, or something that I can relate to from being a kid to an adult. So I really lean towards conscious rappers, like, you know, your J. Cole, your K. Dot, your Big Crit. I mean, 3 Stacks, T.I.
Yeah.
I could name a bunch of artists that I've listened to that are more conscious, but they don't all fall into conscious slots. Like Talib, Kweli, Common, they're more conscious artists. But Big Bun B was a conscious artist, but he was talking about drugs, trap, that type of life. Gucci, that was conscious rap. He was talking about what was going on in the hoods of Atlanta. Yeah. That's the stuff that I lived and I went through. I could even say when Waka first came out, I did not rock with Waka Flocka Flame, bro. I did not like it because all I heard was, "Oh, let's do it."
That's the beat my friend made.
Are you serious?
He made the "Oh, let's do it" beat. L Dunn, shout out to L Dunn.
Bruh, that's so dope. But I did not like the song. I was like, just do it, do nothing but yelling.
Donovan knows this. I didn't like that song either. I used to make fun of that song. I'm like, hey, your song on the radio, dun 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 dun, dun. And he'll just be like, I mean, I got the check.
That's all that matters. I got paid. But bro, like I didn't. But then the more I listened to it, I'm like, okay, he's actually talking about the hood life, little bits and pieces, but it's got the turn up to it, so all you catch is the turn up. Oh, let do it, hey, oh that, you know, that's just that's what caught on. But the backstory to it made me feel like he was going through something like your boy. Like, I got to go back and help moms. Yeah. So I got to make sure I got to get this pack off. Now I can't get it, so I got to go rob somebody to get the re-up. You know, that's what it came back for me.
So shout out, Kendrick. I feel like Kendrick's good at that. Like, like Kendrick like makes like songs that you just like, yo, any lane you put him in, he's just like he gonna kill it. But then also at the same time he's talking about something. Right. Like I like right now. I not sound like I'm pretty sure a lot of people say this, but Kendrick right now is, if I had to put like if I had to say a top 5 from right now, I'd probably put Kendrick on there.
Absolutely. So you mentioned Childish earlier. Mm-hmm. This is America. Mm-hmm. As an artist and as a fan, how did that make you feel to see him come to that point, knowing from Freaks and Geeks? Like, did you expect it? Did you see it? Or was it like, I knew it was coming?
I can see it. I think what happens is, so I gave Adrian a lot of praise on this, but one thing I will say, love you, Adrian. One thing I'm gonna say, I think like sometimes faults us is that we try to box artists in when we ourselves don't want to be boxed in. And so then, like, I remember when Kanye went from College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation, then all of a sudden he came out with 808s and Heartbreak. And I remember I loved 808s and Heartbreak because this is still Kanye. Right. It's not now Kanye, but this was still Kanye.
Yeah, this ain't Ye.
And I remember Adrian hated it so much. And I remember one day we was having a conversation and I was like, why did you hate that project so much? And he was like, because it wasn't what I was expecting of him. And I was thinking like, I didn't say nothing at the time because I don't think I had a
good consciousness of the wrap around it.
But even like when you ask people about like, you know, Kendrick, when Kendrick came out with To Pimp a Butterfly, to me that was like genius. Like but then certain people was just like, but it wasn't Good Kid, Mad City. Right. And it's kind of like, but Kendrick in an interview said this was the album I always wanted to make, but I wanted to soften the blow by giving you Good Kid, Mad City. Sometimes as artists, man, you gotta like, I don't want to compare fans to dogs, but it's like you know, if you got a dog, you gotta like wrap the pill up in the tree, and you gotta give it to him.
Hey, I like the metaphor.
And so then it's kind of like, man, you know, he's like, you listen to Freaks and Geeks, and you just like, oh, this is hard. But then he rapping about how growing up in America, he was rapping about how he felt he was not black enough.
Right.
You know, so you...
And if for those of you who don't know Childish Gambino's history, go back and look. That's why it was so interesting to me, is because not only did he put it in perspective for what we're living in America, but he literally expressed his entire career almost in that video and song.
Yeah.
Where he was not the popular black kid. Most people didn't even know he rapped. Mm-mm. And no one was really onto him. But now he's got this is America. He had Atlanta Go Stupid. He had a couple of songs that just took off. Mm-hmm. And then This Is America. Atlanta show.
That's my show.
Put him in the front of the spotlights. But then he started shouting out artists like Ray Strimmer and Migos. And they, okay, who is this Donald Glover guy? People started finding out. He dropped This Is America and it blew up.
Yes.
I absolutely love the concept behind it because it's what we live in this real world. You see the party and the get down up front, but all kind of craziness going on behind the scenes.
I got this song. It's called Gateways, and it's about drug use. And so I played it for Flo, and I thought Flo would get it. So I played it for Flo, and Flo was like, I don't like the song because, you know, I'm fuck with drug use and everything like that.
Right.
But he missed the point of the song. Yeah. Because, like, if you really listen to the song, it's not about drug use. It's about my mom on drugs. And me dealing with that. But then, like, you listen to the hook, it sounds like smoke, sip it, drink, pop a little Molly, keep me hot. So it sounds like, it's
a turn up song.
Yeah, so then you listen to it, you're just like, oh, this is my shit. But if you really listen to it, it's like, and it kind of goes back to that metaphor I just told you, like,
yeah.
Like even Flo, rapper connoisseur, I thought he would hear it, but he didn't. And so
put the medicine in the treat, but feed it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I love it. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna get ready to wrap this thing up. What do you have coming up? What you working on? Where can we follow you? Where can we keep up with your music?
Awesome.
Projects. What you got, T?
I'm recently starting my own SoundCloud. So you can follow me at Dewitt, TEEDEWITT. But always, you can find me on True Story Stuff, which is the number 2, RUESTOREY. And again, that's True Story. Anything, Instagram, Facebook. I'm working on a project called Wits, Parables, and the Beanstalk. Wits because my last name is Dewitt, so it's a play on my last name. Parables because it's going to tell a story. The Beanstalk because...
Jack and the Beanstalk?
That, and we're climbing towards something, but we don't know what's at the top of the thing we're climbing towards.
Bro, I love it.
And so,
when you said it the first time, I immediately started thinking of the Aesop's Fables, Jack and the Beanstalk story, and I was like, Wits, that's just him. So he's putting himself into those positions. So
I've been working on this for 6 years. As soon as me and Adrian finished our first collective project, I started working on this. And so I'm shooting for a release late this year. It's going to be cool. I don't want to give nothing away because it's a lot that's going to go into it. So y'all going to be a little surprised. Yeah.
That's it. Just stay tuned.
Yeah.
6 years, bro. That's almost unheard of in the music world now. Everything is so microwave.
I realized too, because like when we cut the cameras and everything, I'm going to play you some stuff. And I realized too that like we live in a popcorn time, and so then never be in a situation where you're trying to make everything so perfect that you actually hinder yourself from putting anything out. So I want to say that first and foremost because I'm hearing like cats are making songs on their phones and just putting them out. So hey, if that's your drive, do it. Put it out. But also at the same time, know that when you're making real art, it will last the test of time.
Right. Absolutely. Hey, this has been T Dewitt. Y'all,
everybody got a role.
Give a follow. Pick him up, follow him up.
At the end of that
we're
road,
gonna be back. We'll be back. We'll find out.
True stuff.
When the album project actually come out, we might come back and do this.
Why you do that? Honestly, I don't even think my best friend even trusts me. I wouldn't trust me either. Respirator flow sounding a little rusty. I guess I need a breather. It all depends if I innovate, making a mistake. On this day, I'm in an overdose on the intake of water on the border, being mental and ingrates. To get up on my way, man, I'm trying to be great. My ex-girl said she wants to end things. I guess she had her reasons. Spoke to God about it in the night before she crushed dreams.